Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports and 3G. It is Robbie and Clem back for another quick hitter, back-to-back days, this time for Stranger Things 4, Episode 2, Vecna's Curse. This was the continuation, picks up right after Episode 1, where Eddie has now ran from his trailer. His uncle came back, who he lives with, discovered Chrissy's body, called the cops. Eddie's on the run. I wanted to start with this, Clem. You're in Eddie's situation. You see this happen. Do you run? I don't think I run. I think I call the cops right away. I don't think he got much blood on him. I think he's a fool for running in the way he did.
So I don't think I run, but I think if I was Eddie, I'd run. I think big, lovable oaf Clem, they're like, he would never hurt a fly. If you're the guy who has the long hair and he's probably been dealing with the glances his whole life, he's like, fuck this. I'll tell you, I would have run states away. I'd be in California. I would have run into fucking Winona, been like, oh shit, you're in Cali too. Like, I would be nowhere near Indiana. I would have been so far gone out of there. And you mentioned it in our episode 1 recap. The way that like she's murdered, it's so grisly, which by the way, note to self, stop watching Stranger Things before bed. This is not a before bed show. My wife, we watched, what was the name of that show? The other Netflix show in Korea, with the Squid Games. My wife watched Squid Games. She went to the doctor and she's like, I'm having like trouble. I think she was having trouble breathing or something like that. And then they're like, it sounds like stress. Are you doing anything that's stressing you out? She's like, oh, every night before I go to bed, I watch the most horrifying show in the history of the world. and honestly, after we watched the finale, she was fine. So note to self, stop watching Stranger Things right before bed, because this show is so fucking great. It has the nostalgia. It has the fun interactions with the kids. It has comedy. It has all this stuff. It's a fucking horror show at its core. Yeah. And that was a reminder. It's Chrissy's body was like, oh yeah, we're dealing with some fucked up shit right now.
They lean into it a lot too. This season has a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street references. Yes. I read an article about that. They were talking about it. And we'll even get into like a direct correlation to that movie later on in tomorrow's episode 3 recap, or not recap. Like we said yesterday, it's not really recaps. It's kind of just our thoughts on the episode. And we forgot to say, if you're this far, we're sorry for spoiling the intro, but spoilers over the whole intro.
Spoilers. And by the way, Barstool confession time for your pal Clem here. Never watched Nightmare on Elm Street, never watched Jason, never watched Halloween, never watched any of that shit because I am a straight up coward. I saw like a picture of Freddy Krueger because I grew up during this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, I'm a fucking.
What is this? 84 is Stranger Things 4?
Yes, I think later. Or I think we're 86 now. I think we're 86. I think 84 was.
So are we reaching the time where like you could vaguely remember this stuff? Do you have memories from 86?
Like 86 is right where there might be like a smattering. It would be nice if I could remember the fucking Mets World Series so I could die in peace. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But 88 is I know when things definitely start clicking for me. And 82 baby, that's 6 years old. But I do think there are some things in 86 that might kind of bubble up here. So, again, your boy Clem is not a fucking big horror movie guy. And you said it, Bob. This is the shit we would have tweeted if everyone was watching at the same time, like a regular TV show. And it's basically, I always say, Portnoy always had a comment, always had a section of Barstool was called Random Thoughts. And this is kind of just our bullet points as we go through the episode.
This is our Stranger Things Random Thoughts. Another random thought I had. I know it's kind of the bad guy hangout, the bad guy hideout. The party house seems kind of sick. Imagine in high school if you just had like an abandoned place like that you and all your boys could hang out.
Oh, just straight up flop house. I was like,
it's amazing.
And I'm thinking, shit, like I live in the burbs here. We never had stuff like that. We did build a fort. Like the kids in my neighborhood built a fort. That was, I guess, when we were probably like late elementary school, and the kids older than me were in middle school. And that it was a shitty little thing with like 4 plywood things or whatever. A fucking full ass house, man. That's a dream. And you know, there's always like one group of friends where it's like the dad had a house and he just abandoned it. God bless, man. If those walls could talk, you don't want to hear what they
Your mom never wants you hanging out with Rob. Come on, you know. They're not the right people to be hanging out with, Rob. You can't be doing that. Yeah,
I guarantee there was just an entire room in that house that was just filled with Playboys.
yes.
Our boy RA might have. I feel like RA was definitely in a friend group that had one of those abandoned houses somewhere. It was like an abandoned apartment in Boston, and the shit that RA fucking. That's the man. That was the origin story of Rear Admiral. Was that fucking house right there?
Yeah, hysterical that when all the jocks think that it's Eddie that did it. They're like, it's because of that Hellfire Club. It's because of that satanic worship that they do with the Dungeons and Dragons. Like this was the before heavy metal, I guess, or this is probably the era of heavy metal, 1986. the Satan fear of everything. Like before video games became like the why kids are violent, it was Dungeons and Dragons. It was a board game.
The most like innocent kids basically in this show are supposed to be like devil worshippers because they play Dungeons and Dragons, and it's the perfect way to do it. You have is it Newsweek is like the magazine where they're referencing it at first, and then all it takes. And again, hey, everyone's in school, and there's always the different cliques, and it's like the popular kids, and then there's kind of like the weirdos out there with the long hair. It's like that would have been the crew that you would say if there was a murder, that crew would have probably been blamed for it no matter what, let alone if it happens at the guy's uncle's place. So just a tough break. I had this in my notes, like I think every episode. I fucking love Eddie. Like when Billy came in, I was like, sus list. I don't like you, Billy. But he played the role of an 80s villain so well. Eddie's the opposite, where he plays like the likable dude you just love and hope everything works out for him. Because we all knew that dude in high school who might have looked a little tough. We got to know him. Like he looks out for these fucking kids, man. He looked out for Dustin. You have to just shout him out for that. I loved it about him.
Fact. I'm a big Eddie guy. I'm also a big Ed head. So Eddie as well.
And I've said this to the day I'll die. Your name is Eddie. It just makes you like 1,000%. You I've never met an unlikable Eddie. Again, my daughter's first bus driver was Eddie, nicest guy in the world. Eddie from Chicago, nicest guy in the world as well. I'm doing my large impression of him. And then this Eddie, 3 for 3 on Eddie so far.
Yeah. I love the giveaway on when they want to find Briefer Rick, they go to the video store and they find what movies they've rented. And they're like, is it, Aliens, whatever? No. Is it Star Wars? No, probably not. Is it Indiana Jones? No. Is it Cheech and Chong and Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Cheech and Chong and Cheech and Chong and Cheech? And they're like, that's him. So I thought that was very funny. The painting, again, we talked about it last episode. When Will brings it to the airport, tries to show it to Mike, he's like, oh, what's that? He's like, it's painting. Like, kind of like, you want to know more about it? And he just starts talking to 11, kind of puts it away, seems bummed. I think Will might have a thing for Mike.
I'm telling you, we're getting the Todd from Wedding Crashers moment. Mike's going to be like Vince Vaughn. There's going to be a little leaf in the right spot, blocking some stuff. It's going to happen. And if you're Mike and you're flying to the other side of the country to meet your girlfriend, you haven't seen it, like the fucking butterflies in your stomach that are just flying.
You're like, dude, not now with the fucking painting. Like, I'm trying not to throw up.
Yeah. If you touch my leg, every part of my body is going to have like fluids coming out of it at this point, because I am seeing my girlfriend for the first time in fucking months. So yeah, shout out to Mike.
And they have they kind of have some issues. Like 11 feels like he's not fully into it. He's like, I am fully into it. It's sad to see them going through it. They both look so much older. I feel like both of them, like Will looks so much older. Dustin can kind of pass off as like he's on the same trajectory. I feel like Max can kind of pass off in the same way. Lucas looks a lot older. It's like weird how some of them have it feels like they've aged more than others.
I just forget that Lucas isn't like starting for the Indiana Hoosiers at this point when he plays basketball. He looks old as shit. And
he's got a great, like the haircut. Top. Oh, it's
great
nice.
High top. Yeah. Fucking incredible high top.
And then at the roller rink, have you ever gone to a roller rink? I personally never have.
So I was wondering if this is going to make me an old. We had roller rinks had a little bit of a day here in my neck of the woods, and it was like the biggest place to go on like a Friday night. And obviously, yeah. So you'd have the roller rink. I think it was called Sport. There's Sport Time USA and Sportland USA. The one I went to was in Danbury, Connecticut. There's one that I think is like somewhere in Westchester. It's a little more hood than the one I went to growing up. And yeah, just fucking all the cool kids are roller skating, doing their thing. And then the arcade would just straight up dominate because that's the times you lived in back then. So I loved roller rinks. And I'm going to make a fucking prediction live on my mom's basement. I'm pretty good at my predictions, Bob. You have to say it. This is a real world prediction. I say within the next, do I say 10 years or 5 years? 5 years is not giving me a lot of time, but fuck it, I'm going to roll with it anyway. Next 5 years, roller rinks, huge comeback. Going to be like a front page. I don't even know. Do they even have pages? Do they even make magazines anymore? It'll be like a story that you hear. It's like a op-ed thing where it's like roller rinks, huge comeback in the all right, by the year 2030. Is that a fair?
It's like vinyl coming back. Yeah.
Yes. By the year 2030, roller rinks will have made enough of a comeback that it will be like a known story. My dad and my sister have a bet to this day from when she was a kid that the Beehive would come back, like the Marge Simpson haircut. And I forgot there is something at stake. It's like a pretty decent thing at stake because it was such an outlandish comment, but there is a big bet at stake between the two. So people with Beehive haircuts rolling around a roller rink, roller rinks are a great ass time, man. It's just fun. The music's playing, you know. I am not a good roller skater though. I imagine you could skate, right? Because you're a racer.
I played roller hockey, yeah.
Okay.
So I never really tried like roller skates, but roller blading I'm pretty good at, yeah.
Yeah, I figured so much. You hold yourself like a man who can skate, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and then the end of the episode, I mean, Elle gets bullied. I don't know how any of her friends are not helping her. Like they start, things aren't going good for her here, Mike. Like she's lying to you. And then they watch her get bullied and they just stand there. One of them goes and tells the DJ to turn off the music and they say, no, go onto the fucking floor and save her. Like what's going on here? And then they were calling her a snitch. I was like, is she really a snitch? Like when she came out and it said, what happened to your diorama? Elle just said, I slipped. She didn't say like that girl did whatever. I don't think, unless I forgot something. And then I fucking loved, and I mean loved, 11 smashing this chick's face in with a roller skate. I know I shouldn't say that. If kids are listening, I don't condone, violence or whatever. But this was awesome. I mean, boom, like WWF style, fucking weapon, ring bell to the face.
I was thinking, is it like illegal for me to be happy when she hit her with the skate? Because I was like, when she was walking over and she has the L face on, you're like, is her powers going to come back? And you can tell they're not coming back. And then she picks up that roller skate. And I was like, yes, let's go smash her fucking. And I said fucking face in, and she smashed her fucking face. And they gave me what I wanted, and I didn't even feel bad. And it was like a gnarly fucking, like a crack in the face. That was a gnarly
blood dripping down. And for a moment, I feel like whenever something like this happens, for a second, I always think, is this a dream sequence? Is this what they wanted to do? And then they're going to snap back into like, she's going like this again, making a fool out of herself. No, she fucking did it. And that's awesome.
Yeah. I was with you. I was like, why is no one else coming to Elle's aid right now?
Yeah.
By the way, California kids are low-key like the meanest motherfuckers in the world. And granted, I've only been to California maybe once or twice, and I've probably never seen many actual like posses of kids together. But all I know is between this and those motherfucking Cobra Kai in Karate Kid, these guys are like, they're like so cool. And that makes them extra mean. I think they might be meaner than city kids because, like, New York City kids, they have like this toughness about them, and they'll probably like chirp at you. But I don't think any of them would like smash a fucking like chocolate shake on you and have you fall in the middle of a rink, and everyone, even the adults, are laughing at you. So I'll tell you right now, those fucking Michael and even my guy Argyle, the weirdo older brother who I forget his name a bunch of times, like they're basically like the Jedi. They're a bunch of little pussies. They're just watching Alice to fucking take things in her own hands. She shouldn't have to do that. Now, granted, like Michael doesn't know. Michael thinks she's like popular out there and she's kind of lying, which I understand. Like you don't want your boyfriend to know you're a loser out there. But it was like the most well planned prank ever. Like they fucking had it all set up where they're gonna hit her from all these different angles.
Mean for no reason.
No fucking reason at all. Like you're in California, man. Every day is 75 and sunny.
Yeah, just
like
chill.
Just chill. You guys are probably smoking weed and like drinking at the beach. What the fuck is there to like?
Yeah, what did 11 call it? That funny smelling plant or something?
Yeah, they're leaning into that big time. I could tell too with the smoke and the weed.
And we'll get into that like next episode, especially. Like they kind of have a whole scene where it's funny.
Yeah, I had notes on that one as well. A couple other notes. Murray, the guy with the glasses who comes to visit Winona. Honestly, I saw the trailer that you missed. I thought he was dead. You could have told me he died. I was shocked to see him alive. It was like a ghost. And I was like, oh, I have to watch.
I like that guy though. He cracks me up.
Yeah, he's funny. He has like a good energy, and he brings a good energy to the show. And it's very 80s-ish too, which is good. Our Russian boy, Enzo, the many-faced god, just handsome as a motherfucker. I just can't get over how handsome the many-faced god is. I loved him in Game of Thrones, and I'm happy we have him back here again. And yeah, that's basically about it. Oh, and the other thing was Thundercats. They referenced Thundercats. Oh, yeah. Thundercats fucking ruled. And I've rewatched them. I must have been on drugs as a kid because I don't understand the fucking plot and the way everything's going now. But I was a diehard Thundercat fan. Lion-O was obviously the king, but I was a Panthro guy randomly. So, and shout out my guy Sam Lauderdale, who he saw me one time tweet about how I wanted to buy the Thundercat sword, and he got me the Sword of Omens. So I have that in my garage. I showed my dad that today, by the way. And he's like, "Oh wow, you have a sword in your house?" I was like, "Yeah, Dad." He's like, "You better keep that away because you have like the craziest kid in the universe living in your house." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I'm gonna die. This is Chekhov's sword. AJ's gonna kill me with my own Sword of Omens. I'm never gonna even see it coming.
And we're gonna predict it live on The Basement. It will be your last great prediction come true on The Basement.
As we're at the roller skating rink, as it makes its comeback, and there's people with beehives, and AJ just fucking daggers me from behind. A two brute.
Yeah. All right. Like the video for Clem, because he might die in the future because of that sword. Make sure you subscribe and then comment your favorite moment from episode 2.